Hey everyone, my name is Mitch Dyer. I am here with Zach Stein.
What's happening, Mitch?
What's happening is we have a 16-minute demo of Quantum Break, the Xbox One game from Remedy. That's the studio behind Max Payne, Alan Wake. Ryan McCaffrey at IGN always likes to say these guys do not make bad games. They've never made a bad game. And that kind of seems to be the hope here. I mean, Quantum Break is looking really good.
It looks fantastic, and I cannot wait to play this.
So what we're seeing now, this is a demo where Jack Joyce, the main character, he's trying to get basically, to this bridge, but it's covered in these kind of militarized police force security guys, private security for Monarch. That's the big corporation. And it's just a lot of stuff in his way. So basically, it's, point A to point B, very simple mission design, and when you get started, we're going to jump around a lot here. It's a long gameplay demo, Zach, so we're gonna hop around. But as we get started, you just see there's a really strong attention to detail in this building. It's under construction. There's lots of stuff lying around, buckets and bricks and all sorts of drywall that's all messed up. And meanwhile, outside, people are being arrested and quarantined or something. There's so much going on in this world.
Yeah, it's not a good situation, but it's setting you up for setting up the tension. It's building the atmosphere, and it's letting you know that bad things are about to happen.
So let's jump ahead a little bit here. As Jack is just kind of poking around. They're showing you how beautiful this world is. If you don't know anything about Quantum Break, it's a third-person action game with a bunch of weird timey-wimey stuff going on. Basically, at any moment, time might have a disruption. It kind of freezes, and amid all of that, Jack, the main character here, one of two main characters, Beth being the other one, he can't control time. He can't rewind and he can't fast forward, but he can manipulate it in interesting ways. And we're gonna get a look at that once we see him go down this ladder. He's gonna try to hide, but this guy on top of the bridge is gonna give him away. So in combat, it's basic gunplay. He's shooting. I love the way this thing falls off when the bullet hits it right there.
Yeah,
such a nice touch. The environment reacting to the combat. But he's got this super run thing, and you can see anytime the screen lights up white or you see a white effect, that kind of indicates that there's something happening with time. So he can run really, really fast. He hides behind cover here, and these guys, you can see they're still looking over to where he was before. So in combat, you can navigate really effectively by using these time powers.
Yeah, I love the cover-based shooting and this mechanic of him being able to... I wasn't sure what was happening at first, but he's throwing them off, and then he suddenly just appears out of nowhere. That bubble is really cool right
Yeah,
there.
so actually I want to rewind a little bit here. I have the time powers too. I love this touch here. He's running around. You get that B prompt to show you hey, you can melee execute this guy basically, but you see the orange light, the orange thing lighting up there. That just kind of indicates hey, this is, it's a cute little nod. This is where you're gonna be. He can kind of see into the future a little, but it starts playing the animation directly ahead of him.
Oh wow!
And you can see him fade right into it, and it's that awesome takedown with this dude who didn't even see him coming. And then, yeah, you mentioned this bubble here up ahead. He throws that bubble down, and basically that guy is enveloped in time. He's totally stopped inside that bubble. Jack shoots a bunch of bullets into it, kind of lets it go and hits play, and all the bullets hit him at once.
That will never get old for me.
Yeah, I really like these powers. Remedy's just so creative. They were the first video game to kind of incorporate the bullet time stuff from the Matrix, and this is similar in tone, I guess, but very, very different in execution. It is more original than just stealing from the Matrix, which was awesome in Max Payne. But it's just really cool to see all these different powers in play. Especially this sequence I really, really quite like, actually. Let's fast forward a little bit here. So Jack is able to run around very, very quickly, and I love the way the world kind of comes apart underneath him.
Yeah.
You can see the panels of the wood are just kind of lifting out from underneath him, almost like he's the Flash. He's moving really quickly. And time is responding in a weird and interesting way. Yeah,
it's like a time wake behind him where and yeah, the grenade part here, this is really neat.
Yeah,
too.
yeah, this is a great thing. You see this a few times in the demo, but a grenade comes, and he's just nope, see ya. And as he moves on, he pops a few bullets in there, and then you can this guy this. He takes care of the one guy with the explosive barrel, freezes this guy in place, puts a couple bullets into it, and then just moves on. Doesn't have to worry about the time run because he's totally safe. And I love this, this element of the combat where he takes this guy down. He's still alive, but he just moves on, right? Because he's that'll be good. That'll be totally enough to take this guy down.
When Jack uses time powers, the enemies lose track of him, resulting in exciting cat and mouse gameplay.
We're getting to the highlight of this fight. So if he freezes that whole area over there, he puts a bunch of bullets into that propane tank, and then again just continues fighting on other stuff. Like, it's taken care of. He knows it's done, and he just moves on to the next guy.
Yep.
It's a really, really cool and creative way to take care of combat. And again, with the grenade, he just uses his time run to get out of there.
So he froze the propane tank, shot it, and then when he releases it, it explodes and takes everyone out.
Yeah, and I would assume there's some kind of timer on that too. Like, either you let it run out of the timer and then it just, time continues, or you can deactivate it.
Yeah.
Which you could create a lot of, like, really cool setup. You could throw a couple bullets into a guy, set him up to be weakened, and while he's, frozen in time, you take down the people supporting him, and then when he comes back, he's, your bullets knock him back, and then you can, deliver that finishing blow.
I feel like we've seen games do this before, but not this well.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other games that like, incorporate
shift,
time into their
remember
combat.
at the beginning of the Xbox 360?
Oh, God. Oh, man. I think I know what game you're talking about. It was awful, right? Time shift?
Yeah, it was really bland. It played with this time mechanic, but nothing like this.
Singularity had a bit of that, too.
Oh, yeah, Singularity. That's the other one. Absolutely.
I'm always really appreciative when a game can do interesting things with its combat, and especially with traversal and navigation. We're going to get to that in a little bit, but you ever play PsyOps?
Yeah,
Man, I loved PsyOps.
The Mindgate Conspiracy.
What a horrible subtitle.
That was Midway.
Oh, man. Are they still around? I don't think they are. If they are, they're very quiet. So this cutscene, it just gives us a little bit of an idea of like some of the crazier stuff that goes on in the world. And this is like a really cool setup. Big action sequence, time freezes. And then basically for the rest of this demo, you see like this entire thing is setting up for a bigger sequence later, but this just kind of stays the way it is. The big traffic accident that kicks off here, you see some of the finer details, like he's moving stuff out of the way that's in the air.
It's got that X-Men Days of Future Past feel.
Right. I mean, and you can see time like wobbling because it's not totally stable. There's this dude, this Monarch guy is getting smashed by this car. And it gets, I really like watching this break down over time. The farther along we get into this level, the crazier it gets. Let's fast forward a little bit here.
This was jaw-dropping.
I love this. This is actually like a great, not only like a cool tone piece, but just a nice pacing thing. Like you hear a gunshot and people yelling, and you come up and you just see the aftermath of what's going on. And then you kind of like heartlessly walk past it, like, I'll just move this Molotov out of the way. Don't mind me.
I have somewhere to be.
I have big dudes to fight in here. So this actually, this makes a lot of sense. I didn't even think about this, but certain enemies that can exist in your frozen timescape, that creates a lot of interesting combat opportunities, especially if they start giving those guys time powers of some kind. I don't know what the potential is there, but I mean, I love this. He grabs that dude's gun.
Yeah,
he
right
doesn't
out of his
have
hands.
like he has a pistol that may or may not have any ammo in it, and then he just grabs this dude's assault rifle.
You don't
These
need that.
Chronon-Tech juggernauts have heavy-duty exoskeletons and.
So during this
custom-built
fight, I especially love that he's still able to Jack is still able to run around, set stuff up, and kind of stay out of their view. Like he's still able to use his time powers to his advantage, even though these guys exist in that space. I sometimes worry that this might be too easy, especially since this car explodes, and then time sort of rewinds again, and that car comes back. Right there, you see it. And everything kind of comes back to the way it was, because their excuse is like, hey, time isn't stable, so it's kind of trying to fix itself. I worry that that'll make these combat scenarios really, really easy. Obviously, these guys made the game. They know what they're doing, so it looks really easy. You and I probably wouldn't be as efficient.
Yeah, I think this is setting up for the puzzle about certain pieces in time that are not stable, and using that to your advantage. I am still a bit confused about these people can exist with this frozen time, but yet you can still manipulate them a bit. I don't
you
quite
can,
get that.
right, like you're freezing time within frozen time or something. I don't know.
Right.
Science is weird, man.
Oh, I love this with the car.
Yeah, that car you used to create like a new entryway is now just like rewinding back to its normal state. So if you saw the Gamescom demo, this is actually where that demo ended, and now this is a bit of an extended version of that. It's like 6 more minutes of this level of, Jackie moves forward, climbs up here, he gets on top of this bridge, and a lot of what comes, I love this actually. This is when we first saw Quantum Break during the announcement of Xbox One. This is what we saw, was this boat crashing into this bridge, and this bridge totally being torn apart, and us not really knowing anything else beyond that. It was, a bridge getting shredded and frozen, And that was kind of it. That was our first look at Quantum Break. And now we're seeing that like in the gameplay. And not only here in this cutscene, I mean, when we fast forward a little bit, it becomes the actual level. So now, not only is it the level, but it's constantly changing. I love, love, love this. Like, there are pieces of the environment that are in motion and then trying to undo themselves.
Yes.
And I'm going to rewind a little bit there. You see Jack using his combat powers, you know, what we saw him using before to freeze an enemy, he's now using to freeze this bridge into place, and he's able to proceed without being, you know, violently beaten by these mobile rocks.
Yes. Yeah, it's the environmental puzzle part of this that kind of pulled it all together for me.
Yeah, you were mentioning you were getting like some Uncharted-y vibes.
Yeah,
with him
dare I
just
say, it reminded me a bit of like Uncharted with time powers, right? Because you've got the cover-based shooting, you've got the environmental puzzles, but it's a whole other dimension here.
Timelines caught in violent, destructive loops, crashing into each other.
And again, you see him using his time powers to just kind of get out of the way of other weird timey-wimey dangers.
This is so trippy.
Yeah, this is almost like, did you ever play the Mirror's Edge time trial DLC?
I did.
Where it was these like weird abstract shapes in space.
Yeah.
This is it's a very similar thing where it has strange layouts using different shapes and objects, but you know, in the context of a bridge being torn to pieces, it's, hey, here's this highway sign that's falling over in the middle of time, and then it just stops, and it's a neat way to make you navigate a space that you shouldn't be able to get to.
And nothing feels stable, you know. Look at that.
I'm hoping that over time, right, like a lot of this, it's clearly scripted, obviously, because that's how you do this, but I'd be curious to know if there is anything that can catch you off guard without being punitive, or if it's a lot of stuff like this where you see the solution and you just have to kind of execute on it and move forward. Like,
he feels very powerful, right, with all these powers, and yet this is a great mechanic. It's a great idea. But, oh, look at this. You've got to be careful here, right? So he freezes the truck to get past it, right?
This is great, too. I mean, we see this Monarch SWAT truck, basically. You see that falling through, and that comes into play later. Like, that's falling, and now you're going to go down, and that becomes part of the platforming that you kind of have to deal with. And I didn't see any of that coming from this game. I thought it would be, you know, an action game with, I didn't really know what, but seeing it all come together like this is really exciting. It's really cool to see Jack use his powers, both, you know, for violent gain and personal progression.
Yeah. I love the overall bubble over the whole area there.
Yeah, it's almost got like a weird dome around the world.
The fractured scape.
I have to wonder how many times, I mean, do you think they're going to fall back on this kind of stuff a lot? This is really interesting to me here, but I worry that it becomes a series of combat bowls followed by similar puzzles. I wonder what else they could do with time stuff in this game.
Yeah, I mean, they've got time to show us. No pun intended. I have a feeling we'll see this just play out in different environments. So you might have the same powers. Maybe you power up at some point. I'm not sure. But
this is horrifying, by the way.
I do not want to be this guy. I just want to play him. Yeah, it's tough to see where they could go because Remedy is so creative, right? They never rest on their laurels.
Yeah, it's a smart team. I'm excited to see more of this, and this trailer, like 16 minutes of gameplay, is really cool. Like, we haven't seen a lot from this, and all of this makes me the most curious. Like, I see this now and I think, okay, I'm confident in what they're doing with the game and with the kind of scope of the spectacular stuff they've got going on in their cutscenes, but I really am curious to see what else is going to happen in their television side of things. Like, it's cutscenes between episodes of gameplay is a television show?
Right.
How does all of that fit into this?
And what you do in the game affects what you see in the show and vice versa, I believe.
Yeah.
And this,
right.
by the way, did you mention, so this is, they said, what, about halfway through the game?
Yeah. I also want to point out, this is great. I'm pretty sure that's like a Alan Wake callback. Was it Night Falls? Was that the show? Like that? It's the same font. It looks like the same logo, but it says something else.
Oh my gosh.
It's just a cute little callback.
I'll have to look that up. Yeah, I played Alan Wake. I absolutely remember that.
Final thoughts on Quantum Break based on these new 16 minutes of gameplay, Zach?
Remedy has something incredible. It's so promising. It looks like this is going to be a huge game for Xbox, and it's going to be, I think, groundbreaking with the television stuff, the graphics, the mechanics.
Yeah,
I'm
I hope it all comes
excited.
together. And this builds my confidence. I trust Remedy implicitly. Alan Wake is basically Twin Peaks, the video game. So whatever they're going to do, I will trust them forever. And this is really, really exciting. Zach, thank you so much for your time. For more on Quantum Break, stay tuned to IGN.